Imagine a garden as art. A layered watercolor dominated by intricately carved stones. It is a garden that above all reveals a profound and ancient view of the world and our place in it. Imagine, too, building that garden without understanding the architect's plans, or even sharing a common language with artisans who would eventually bring the garden to life. Over more than 5 decades as landscape contractors, ValleyCrest's work has drawn deeply from our willingness to go beyond what's possible. With the recently completed Garden of Flowing Fragrance in San Marino, California, we redefined for ourselves the limits of what we thought we could do. In the end, we created a project of unprecedented achievement. Unlike Western-inspired garden designs, with their emphasis on trees and shrubs, lawns and flower beds, the Chinese garden is built through a painter's eye. With its distinctive characteristics and architectural forms, hand-carved bridges, latticed windows and roof tiles, intricate hand-set pebbled patterns, and courtyard floor, the Chinese garden at the Huntington combines traditional elements to recreate a scholar-style garden. One similar to the largest and finest of all classical gardens, the humble administrator's garden, built during the historic Ming Dynasty in the 16th century. With carefully laid out ponds and lakes, winding pathways and pavilions squeezed into small spaces, the Chinese garden landscape imparts layers of meaning. To understand the scope of the project and our role in it, we need to start with the blueprints, the ones we couldn't read, and the people whose language we didn't speak. The project required a team of translators. Garden materials, sculptural rocks, and stone-carved designs were shipped from China and labeled in Mandarin, as were the documents and bills of lading. Master stonecutters and craftsmen who had never been out of China, who spoke no English, arrived to create the lake and the bridges. Others came to assemble the pavilions. Visas, logistics, administration, and the work itself required the services of intermediaries who facilitated understanding and ultimately enduring friendships within our own global project village.
ValleyCrest and the Huntington have been collaborators for a very long period of time, something in the range of 40 years. So we had developed a very good relationship with ValleyCrest before these projects. We were working intimately with ValleyCrest on other projects, and we thought it was natural to continue that collaboration in the Chinese garden. Well, this is a unique project, and to be wonderfully honest about it, and I think Bert Sperber would feel the same way, when we started this, we really didn't know what we were doing, and we all had predispositions about what we thought we should do, and that's including our Chinese colleagues, and we've all had to learn together. But it has been a wonderfully bicultural project, and the team on this side, which ValleyCrest is very much a part of, has worked wonderfully with our team in China.
The product that came of this is a Chinese garden that frankly is as proud a project as our company has ever built, certainly as big a challenge as any job we've ever built, and happy to say a real success story, that the two typical things that most owners want is jobs to come in on time and under budget, and both of those were accomplished. We have a very happy customer.
The project was ideal for ValleyCrest. There was a lot to learn, and more than a few challenges to overcome. Design documents were written in Mandarin by Suzhou Garden Development Company in China. The plans were complex and designed using metric measurements, which all needed to be converted. The entire project was bilingual. Marketing by the Huntington and a fundraising campaign was created in Chinese and English. Signage would all be in Mandarin. And we would need to translate not just between Chinese and English, but communicate in Spanish as well. It was clear that an essential part of building this garden would be to first build the bridge that would unite us all. The project was well orchestrated, led by project manager and site superintendent Joe Hale and veteran foreman Danny Gallardo. The multicultural crews worked in harmony, side by side.
That's where the complexity comes in the structural. It gets more complicated with the structural side of it, because we still have to maintain the structural integrity for the United States, but yet they want it to look like it was created in China. The Huntington has designed this project for 100 years as opposed to the Uniform Building Code, which is 50 years, so they've chose to go with structural steel, which is good and it'll last, but the problem is you have to cover it all with the wood that's going to come from China. So that's the complex part for the architects, the artisans, and the engineers, all of us involved, to try to camouflage everything.
Once ValleyCrest completed the 1.5 acre lake, which included a canyon waterfall, stream, 5 hand-carved bridges, including the signature bridge, and the foundations for the summer garden pavilions, the crews moved to construct the tea house, tea shop, and covered walkways. 50 artisans from China, an equal number from ValleyCrest, plus translators. Spanish, English, Chinese, American. The project community was a mini United Nations.
Yeah, our people just took to it like ducks do to water. They just loved what they were doing. We've got a very happy crew working on the job, which we have on most of our jobs. The project executive, Bill Ropp, handling the paperwork and administration. Danny Gallardo, who ran all the labor crews, both Chinese and Hispanic, and the carpenters, and Joe Hale, the project manager, who made a number of trips to China to get a real feeling of what the product was going to look like as it gets shipped over here, and also getting a chance to see the humble administrator's garden, to see what he was expected to have this project look like. So real bravo to our team leadership and all the people that worked on the project.
I started with ValleyCrest in June 1965. My first job was shovel. That was my first job, pick and shovel. Well, this is such a beautiful place to work, and I really don't want to leave it, but sooner or later we must part, so everything comes to an end.
In a Chinese garden, everything contains hidden symbolism. For harmony, the landscape incorporates existing plants and trees. In this case, mature California oaks and pines. To unite all the elements is water, the garden's central component. For the spirits who dwell within are sacred rocks to house them. Plants in their hardiness represent overcoming limitations of ordinary life, and flowers represent the 4 seasons. Other plants, like the lotus, signify purity, the pine, antiquity, the bamboo, uprightness, and so on. Trees, it is said by the Chinese, give the garden its wisdom. The project taught us much. It gave us the opportunity to translate the cultural richness of garden shapes and symbols and understand what we do in a different way. On the final day of construction, in a symbolic gesture of rebirth, ValleyCrest Tree Company lifted up an old loquat tree to give it a new home as the courtyard's welcoming sentinel. ValleyCrest is grateful to the Huntington and to the Chinese Americans and Chinese culture for their warm welcome of our role in this project and the opportunity to build this beautiful place together. Recently, in a ceremony as old as the stone itself, a master craftsman carved the characters meaning Garden of Flowing Fragrance for placement above the main gate. It is an auspicious honor. According to Chinese tradition, placing the naming stone transforms the garden from a project to a cultural destination, one that, like the loquat tree herself, will invite visitors to discover her secrets for many years to come.